Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Tour from CZT Nancy Domnauer. So this is an interesting, it's a grid pattern, but it has some really neat touches. Yeah, I'm going to draw a little grid inside, do a little border. And I'm going to do a 9 square. So you see, whoop. Well, I was thinking a four square would be too few. Sometimes you need to have more than just a 4 square so you can see like the bigger pattern. And that's my thought. All right. It's just always, well, tricky for me anyway, to get the 9 square even. It's easier to eyeball, at least for me, to eyeball half and half. But hey, I didn't do too bad there. Okay. First step, once you have your grid set up, is we're going to put little boxes, little square, over the intersections. And then I'm starting with the full intersections, and then you have to remember, and this one is kind of forgiving, so if they're not the same size, whatever, it's all good. Okay. You have to remember also this, like these edges, these are intersections also, or they would be if they were continuing on. So I'm going to do all of those as well. It'd probably be a little different if I was, extending it out to the edge versus stopping at a border. But nicely, it works this way too. I almost forgot the little corner ones. I was like, nope. That's it's still the intersection. We just have one little box. Excuse me. All right, next. And honestly, it doesn't matter which direction you start. But what we're going to do is now paying attention to the edges of these little boxes that we've made inside each box. We're going to go corner to corner and going diagonal. Whoops. Good to have it kind of eyeballed first so you don't make a little curve like that, but it's not going to matter. And this is why I say it's kind of forgiving, because as long as you're focusing on this corner to this corner and have a relatively, straight-ish line, it's all good. All right. Then we're going to go the other side. So we're making an X inside here. This is one of those that it looks way more detailed, maybe more complicated than it really is. And honestly, the steps aren't that bad, at least in my mind, where you would need to keep going back to the step out. All right, next, think Bales. If you've done the Tangle Bales. If you've not done the Tangle Bales, never mind. All right, but what we're going to do is, in between these boxes, we're going to do curve line going one direction. And, this might be a thing where if you just go do the one direction at a time. And that's how I did it in the step outs. So that way it's easily seen and not so busy. So one side, and then, I always find it works nice just to flip your tile. And we'll do the other side. I like to utilize the natural curve of the hand. You have your hand planted and use that natural curve, which is another good reason to just, when you can, flip the tile, same thing over again, rinse and repeat. And then, guess what? Turn it, 90 degrees one way or the other. And so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So really it's the grid boxes, and that's why I said it's like Bales, except that we have these cute little boxes in between, which gives it a neat effect. Or just makes it different than just Bales. All right. Oh, and this one too. That there is the tangle. Now, shading. There, what's neat is, and if you did this bigger, you have all of these spaces. It could be an interesting reticula. But let's see. But there's so many options on how you could shade this. You know what I'm going to do? I mean, because we have these essentially seed shapes, right? Let's do shading on those, kind of as I normally would. I'm going to start there. I'm just putting a little bit of graphite on either side. Although probably towards the end I'm not going to need it. You just use what's left on the Tortillion. But like I said, I'm just putting a little bit. Okay. Ooh, and in these little tight spaces, just got to be careful. Oh, and let's do the one direction. Oh, look at that. I totally forgot that up there. I'll probably do that. Sometimes it just jumping around. Now, I should follow my own rule here, but it's working okay. Which is not to do what I'm doing right now. To do it this way, where the tip of the Tortillion is on, I like to think of it as on the place that I don't want to go over. I've heard Rick reference, say it this way, it's where you want it to be the darkest. Whatever works in your mind is good. It's just for safe shading. All right, I'll be good from now on. And this is nice if you have a nice, sort of finer tip on your Tortillion. And I think of it as like I'm just tucking it right in to that place, and it's working pretty well. And I'm liking how it's turning out. And for this, as long as you bring your graphite out about a third of the way in on both sides, and then you have a third that is open and lighter, then you get that nice curve. Okay, I call it bendiness. I'm going to continue to call it bendiness because it does, right? And even if there's a little bit, like some of them, it's like, oh, okay, it's a little gray on the inside. You can still see it gives it some curvature, and it's just really, really neat effect. Now, I think I'm going to leave it like that because I like it. Something else. So here's just some other thoughts that I'm thinking, okay, for the next time I do this, it might be interesting to do graphite along that, the diagonal lines. Could have fun putting some, maybe with your pen, do something in the squares. I don't know what. I just like it the way it is, frankly. And do take a look at the For More Inspiration link so you can see Nancy's sample. And then not only that, but because this is linked to Tangle Patterns, because that's where I found it. And looking at Linda's her little thumbnail, we call it, right at the top of the page. I mean, that's always interesting because, Linda usually puts in, depending on what's sent to her. And sometimes I think she just, goes down her own rabbit holes and puts in extra information, which is just very nice. And by the way, if you are not subscribed to tanglepatterns.com, do that. It is free. And just by the way, you'll notice it's like right here at the top. I'm using my mouse as if you can see what I'm doing. She provides a Tangle guide every year, and it's really nice. It's like a PDF, and the neat thing is as you look through it, it's just those thumbnails. But if you're looking at it on your computer, you can click on any of them. It'll take you right to that step out. And it's a lot of work. So, if you use the site a lot, I use it. I buy that every year I see it and throw a little extra in because she does a lot of work keeping this site up, and it's just amazing. So anyway, nice plug for her. But yeah, as I said, looking at both of those samples just to get ideas, because like she filled in the background and left the seed shapes, the natural tile color, and then did some kind of, I have to zoom in to see exactly what she did in the little squares. But anyway, however you want to do it is great. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please click on the like button. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. I've mentioned the description section, and below the links to the step outs, you will find my link tree, and there you'll find everything that I want to share with you. So links to all the social media. If you want to follow me for classes, there are a couple places. It doesn't mention specifically to follow me on Facebook, but if you follow follow or like my page, you'll see that when I post them. Also, we have a private group, Tangle Addicts Community. And if you'd like to hang out and just be a part, I think it's a really active community, super supportive. They're just such wonderful people. So if you'd like to join us, click on that link and answer the 4 questions, and you will be in. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. Everything is self-explanatory. It just depends on what you want to do with your tangling. I have free classes as well as ones that have a fee. I do them. I have 2 sessions every time I do them, and they always start at the same time. The free classes are an hour. The paid ones are at least an hour and a half. Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days that I teach. But you'll see all that information there and on my website. And if you have any questions, do let me know. And with that, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.